Hey, 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 hey. Hey, yo, it's me. It's the RAV. Coming back with a special edition of the HeelCast. We are doing the Bound for Glory prediction show. Normally have a massive show lined up for this. However, things didn't work out as planned. But with me this week is the one, the only, TNA dude, Impact dude, GFW dude, brother, underscore. How many names have you had, my friend?
What?
What?
What? You know what? The God's honest truth is that I made a comment on Asylum the other day about somebody asked how they lost the viewers, and I said rebrand twice in 6 months, and Count corrected me. He said it's 3 times, and he was right. I totally lost track of the number of times that I have been rebranded in the last 6 months. So sure, I officially Impact dude for now.
That cracked me up because also Count had said, we were talking about how many times the company had rebranded, and he said it must be real frustrating or difficult for you to have to rebrand yourself or your name so many times as well. And I was thinking today, can we, just to save time, I think like what we can do to go the safe route for what to call you the rest of the time is maybe start calling you the Global Wrestling Network dude from here on out. I mean, who knows what the company's going to be called tomorrow?
I mean, but it might no longer be the Global Wrestling Network tomorrow either. It could be the Impact Network or the Total Nonstop Network.
The sad thing about this
that's
is,
taken.
Yeah, it was taken. Maybe we could call it. Maybe they'll call it the ECW on TNN Network. That was a low blow. I miss you, ECW.
Yeah, I don't know. To answer Count's question, it's not real hard to rebrand when your brand is, me. It's pretty simple. It actually benefits me.
I think the positive here is you actually know like what you are and your image, and you never mind. That was another low blow.
I'm comfortable in my own shoes and my own skin, with my own skin.
Essentially,
that's where you were taking it.
What I was taking it with was like Impact doesn't really have know exactly what they are anymore, like an agenda for the company to be, but an identity. There we go. These big words these days. But yeah, you know what, man? We got Bound for Glory. It's supposed to be the biggest pay-per-view of the year for Impact every year there, WrestleMania. Since 2014, it kind of hasn't felt that way at all. But, here we are. We've had a build to the pay-per-view. Can we say that, at least? A build to it a little bit.
I mean, I think there's been more than what we usually see, don't you?
It sure tops 2014 and 15, that's for sure. It just, you know what, though? I mean, look, a lot of people have been down. We've been down. The ratings have not been stellar, but you know what? We're here, right? We're here at Bound for Glory. Today is Wednesday. We've got 3-4 days, depending on how you want to look at it, before we kick off Bound for Glory. And look, we've been a little bit down, but we expect nothing more than the roster to come out there and kick ass and to get a good show. Am I correct?
Oh, darn right. The roster always steps up to the plate. Let's just call a spade on that one. No matter what's going on with this company, the roster always puts on a great show for the fans.
Absolutely. And you know what? The other thing to look forward is after this, we have a new set of tapings. We got a fresh creative team. They're in Canada. And you know what? Let's give a round of applause because the fact of the matter is Bound for Glory is sold out. You cannot buy tickets to the show. It is sold out. That's incredible.
That's fantastic. Now, listen up, Ottawa. Let's get those house shows, the tapings. Let's get those sold out too. Let's do this thing.
Go Heel Team 6 Canada.
That's right. We'll send Chef up there with his posse.
That's right. So, look, as we do with all these special shows, we always go through some of our favorite moments and matches of the history of the pay-per-view itself. If you don't mind, Global Wrestling Network dude, Impact dude, I'm going to just kind of go through mine from throughout the years here. So 2005, I started with the first Bound for Glory in 2005, 30-minute Iron Man match with AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. I mean, you can't beat that.
That was a classic Raven effect. That was classic, buddy.
It was. Now, I can't remember. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone listening will actually know the answer to this, but I believe this was also the very first Monsters Ball match. Rhino defeating Abyss, Sabu, and Jeff Hardy. And now, for those that don't remember this pay-per-view as well, Kevin Nash was scheduled to challenge Double J Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World Title. I believe an illness or something. Basically back then, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall did a lot of no-shows on them. So Rhino also won the gauntlet match to qualify for the heavyweight championship match, won the Monsters Ball, and then defeated Jeff Jarrett for the world title. Yeah, it was Rhino. It could have went to someone else, but hey, you know what? Those that remembered Rhino in ECW prior to WWF realized Rhino had a pretty good push and was a star there. 2006, we had the Motor City Street Fight with my man Christian Cage defeating Rhino. You had the Six Sides of Steel with LAX, who is now a reborn LAX in 2017, defeating AJ Styles and Daniels. And then we got Sting. Sting was back, the career versus title match where he defeated Jeff Jarrett for the belt. A newcomer to TNA, a man named Kurt Angle was a special enforcer of that match. Go to 2009, my favorite year of the company towards the end. You have Abyss defeating the legendary Mick Foley in the Monsters Ball match. Also, Sting had passed the torch over to AJ Styles as AJ won the belt from Sting. Really, that Bound for Glory was just kind of a lot of passing of the torch where it was just, man, the talent was just putting the guys over and just building these new stars and really taking it to the next level. And it's such a shame because this was like the best. I'd say from September through December of that year, it was really the closest thing to perfect I've ever seen in any wrestling company. And I just think back from then as to where we came to now, it's pretty disappointing. But, 2011, we had Rob Van Dam against Jerry Lynn, Full Metal Mayhem. Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam, for those ECW fans, I mean, those guys were so awesome. And every match they still did in TNA, I loved. And then, of course, you know what? To be honest, and I like this because it blew my expectations away, but Sting versus Hogan did not suck at all. It was pretty damn entertaining to me. And just to see those guys, all those years later, of course, October. I'm thinking Halloween Havoc, but it was Starrcade then. But still, it was awesome. The next year, 2012, James Storm and Bobby Roode in that street fight. King Mo was a special enforcer. Very odd that King Mo would be the enforcer for that. But Jeff Hardy getting his redemption and defeated A-Double. I guess the big thing with that, man, I mean, A-Double was a huge star. He turned heel right before that. The fans were completely behind Austin Aries. I think it was a big mistake to do that. Should have just went face versus face, and the ball dropped entirely with Austin Aries. From then on out, 2013, AJ Styles defeating Bully Ray, the end of Aces and Eights. Also, if you remember this, the debut of a gentleman by the name of Ethan Carter III as he defeated the legendary Nora Furnham. 2015, the only thing I can say is at least it wasn't a just screw-off show in Japan, but, last year, the only thing that really stood out to me, Hardy's DK, I believe it was a Great War was what they called it. We saw some stuff on there where the truck driver got sodomized, and unfortunately, Impact Dude and I, we earlier that year kind of found out what that was like with DK ourselves. So just a hit-home match for me, but those are some things with me that stand out for Bound for Glory throughout the years. Anything for you, sir?
Well, Christ, now that you just named every match in frickin' Bound for Glory history and broke it down in the last frickin' 5 minutes, of course I got nothing left. You've named every single freaking match, Hurls. I mean, Raven Effects. Good God already. Good God. No, I would say that you named a lot of the ones that stood out for me already. AJ and Daniels the big one. For me, Sting and Hogan. I mean, how do you get past two of the greatest of all time? Really in Hogan's really final match. I know he's done a couple of indies since then, but and who knows, maybe he got in the ring for Vince at some point. But really his final match, shell of what he was, shell of what Sting was. But I think as a feel-good match was great. Now, I don't think you can go wrong with, Storm and Roode either, like you said. I do believe that you missed Jeff Jarrett versus Kurt Angle. That was back in 2008. Again, another great match, and what a bitter match with the personal issues that were going on at the time. So those are some of the ones that step out at me. I mean, Hardy and Aries, I believe you covered that one already. I mean, wow, everybody expects, Jeff Hardy's going to go over, and he pretty much gets booed out of the place for Austin Aries. Very much reminiscent of Hogan and The Rock. I guess that was WrestleMania 18. So those were the ones that really, stood out for me as being some of the best. One that maybe you didn't mention, Samoa Joe versus Jushin Thunder Liger. That was back in 2005. But they really had a special moment, and it was kind of cool. And I think anytime you get Jushin Thunder Liger on a pay-per-view, you've done something that's kind of special anyway. But no, those are I think a few of the ones that maybe I saw that you didn't necessarily catch.
Yeah, I mean that JTL and Samoa Joe match 2005. I think it actually may have been the opening match. I mean that was legit. I do definitely say that. Especially just Jushin Thunder Liger back then. I mean he's on ROH all the time now. 12 years later, the dude's like 78, and not that big of a deal. But I did cover a lot because I kind of love Bound for Glory in this company. There's a lot of memories, and I just wanted to cover them for both of us. Also, the last thing that I can really think of that stands out, and I know a lot of people don't fucking like it, and I might catch some heat for it, but 10-10-10 with the heel turn with Jeff Hardy.
You had to say 10-10-10.
I did.
Oh,
you know what, though,
man?
They gave those three, and especially for all the heat that Anderson used to take from fans, especially that year, because he was very unwelcome coming into the company. I mean, that was a pretty damn good match. Just the way that the ending, it took so long because Hogan took so long to walk, but it was unprecedented. I mean, they tried Jeff Hardy as a heel, something that hadn't been tried before. It kind of failed. Granted, there was personal issues that happened afterwards, but I love Another Me, man. I love that song, and reminisce what could have been, but I didn't necessarily expect it until like Hogan started to walk out, and I felt okay, Hardy's actually going to turn, and it wasn't it the he took Hogan's fucking crutch, didn't he, and just
Yes.
Yeah, was it Anderson or Angle that he hit? Can't remember.
I want to say it was. I don't know why I want to think it's Anderson.
I kind of think so too.
I don't know. I want to think it was Anderson. I'm sure Count will let us know.
I bet he will too. Man, like there's been a lot of Bound for Glory moments, and unfortunately, where the companies came to now, I feel like Bound for Glory moment should maybe be not on the level of a WrestleMania moment. You know what I mean? But like, a little bit bigger than it is right now. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. It would be nice to see it be back the way that it was. You can't win them all, but at the same point in time, I think it's a rebuilding time, but I think they need to do the rebuilding. I think that they need to spend a lot of time just trying to create, positive energy with the fans again.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and one thing I guess we can announce it now. So you talk about the rebuilding and all that. I mean, we are planning on a special show for the HeelCast coming up soon, where we're actually going to kind of discuss rebuilding mode and what we expect to see happen, or what we'd like to see happen, etc. So please look out for that. But you know what?
Man, Raven Effect.
Yes.
We were wrong. It was Angle. He attacked Angle with the crutch.
It was
Angle. Thanks, Count.
Makes more sense. I would expect Angle would be the one, that has more credibility that you needed to put out more. But hey, you know what? Anderson was hot and on a roll back then, man. That asshole shtick in 2010, 2011. And like prior to his concussion and the just shit fest that he put on with Matt Morgan, 2 pay-per-views in a row. Man, Anderson was awesome back then.
Some of the best character work we've seen in TNA, if you want to call it TNA. Whatever I don't know what the hell to call it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anderson, for those that hate on Ken Anderson, the man was putting the Angle that put the aces and eights down for good. So, I mean, just be a little bit more appreciative of the asshole himself. All right, buddy. So we're going to dive into Bound for Glory 2017.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You know what? Actually, real fast, I know we're on this Bound for Glory topic and, kind of the rebuilding and how the Bound for Glory moment are what it was. If you remember this company called WCW, their biggest pay-per-view of all time was Starrcade. Now, Starrcade had a lot of moments, but if you want to recall, and I want to say it's Starrcade 95, they did a pay-per-view, which was basically WCW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time. And maybe it was All Japan, I don't know, but there was no build to it. Hogan wasn't on the card, and truth be told, after that pay-per-view ended, I've never seen this pay-per-view. I don't know what the results were or anything. It's something I got to check out at some point on somebody's network. It was never mentioned on TV again. So I think actually WCW may have actually put over the other company on their biggest pay-per-view of the year. I'm not sure, but TNA is not the only one to kind of piss away their biggest pay-per-view of the year one year. So Starrcade still has those moments, and TNA can still do the same. That's my point, all right? Sorry, Impact can still do the same. All right. So it's been announced, which is probably, if you know this company very well, this should be no shock to anyone whatsoever. The opening match is going to be the X Division Championship match. No, it's a six-way match. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's Ultimate X. I hope it is Ultimate X. There's a lot of gimmick matches on this card, and I have no problem with it. I think this is the time to do it, and yeah, there hasn't been the overabundance of them like there has been in the past, and I hope that this is Ultimate X. But look, we've got the champion, Trevor Lee, defending against Desmond Xavier, Matt Sydal, Sanjay Dutt, the former champion, Petey Williams, a former champion himself, and recently added to the match was Garza Jr. So, man, I don't even know where to start. Trevor Lee, I mean, he had kind of been feuding with Sanjay Dutt from there. We had the tag team match with when the Cult of Lee came around, and then we've got Petey in the mix. Matt Sydal and Desmond Xavier. I mean, Desmond's kind of been getting this push. I never see Sydal anymore. I figured he would have been. When I read the spoilers, I thought, okay, obviously they're going to put it on Sydal. He's been the golden child. He's from the WWE and all that. But now they've got Garza Jr. in the match too, who has been the new golden child. Impact dude, thoughts on number one? Do you want to see this as the Ultimate X match, and where do you think it's going?
Well, I mean, we might as well see it as an Ultimate X match. You know, if you look at the card, you have literally one singles match, right? That doesn't have a stipulation. Because the only other singles match on the card is Rosemary and Ty, and that's a Red Wedding match. Everything else is either a six-way or a street fight or a three-way or whatnot.
Abyss and Grado.
I mean,
Abyss and Grado.
Abyss and Grado, I mean, you know. So, but that's a Monsters Ball match. So that's not really a regular two-person match either.
My bad, I get where you're going with now.
Neither one of them is a regular singles match. So might as well. I love Ultimate X matches. It's just something you don't get to see elsewhere, and it's something you don't get to see that often. I'd like to see them maybe, you know, make a couple of normal matches on this card and make that one an Ultimate X. The next question that I have for you, Raven Effect, is what do Desmond Xavier, Garza Jr., Matt Sydal, Petey Williams, and Sanjay Dutt all have in common?
They're not the current champion.
And, because that's a good answer.
And I would rather see any of them be champion than Trevor Lee right now. No offense to Trevor Lee, because I love his character work.
That's true. That's true. But they're also all faces.
That's true.
So here's the thing, right? On one hand, I think you and I, well, look, I love Trevor Lee. When you say no offense to Trevor Lee is kicking he's kicking butt and he's taking names. I mean, the guy is absolutely killing it. I just rather see him move up the card and pull him out of the X division for a while. He just seems to own the X division, and it's making it stale. It's not good for him. It's not good for the division. So in a perfect world, I would take Trevor Lee and I would pull him out of the division, which means I'm taking the belt off of him. The problem is, for one of those other five guys, who are they going to feud with? Right? What other heels do you have in the X division?
Andrew Everett, Conley,
and Caleb Conley, right? Trevor Lee's buddies. So now somehow you have to transition two guys that aren't in this match, right, up into the title picture and transition their best friend out of it in order for that to happen. So in my mind, I think Trevor Lee's stuck there, and I think that we're going to see a new X Division champ because I think we need new X Division champ right now. But I think they're still going to feud with Trevor at least until they can pull somebody else into the mix or break them off. The question is who? I love Desmond Xavier. I'd love to see it be Desmond Xavier. I'm not sure that he's been given enough build yet. When you look at Garza Jr., I think that everybody's looking at that. I know you're feeling the same way as this match, putting him in there is to make him a champ. I think that they're going to try to elevate him up the card as well. In fact, it might be Garza Jr. and Trevor Lee that get pulled out of the card together. That might be how they do it. They might pull those two into a feud and put the strap on one of the other folks. Petey Williams is fantastic, and you're in Canada, okay? So because of that, I'm going to go with the Canadian Destroyer in Canada. It's a tough call. It could go to any one of the five, and that's what makes this match special. You want to watch a good match where you don't know who's going to win, folks? This is one of them. In Canada, I'm going to go with the Canadian. They got a lot of tapings they got to sell. Petey Williams.
I like it. It's to be honest with you, if you wanted to go with who I want to win, I want Petey to win. look, even before we interviewed Petey Williams, I've just mentioned on the show multiple times how big of a fan I am of the guy. And I still think he's got a lot left in him. And I think Petey Williams, if they could redo Team Canada and have him kind of at the head, learning on this show, when we did that interview, we all are like, man, why don't they let him talk more? I think Petey can elevate a lot in this division. But, I think Andrew Everett and Caleb Conley enter this or have some sort of a run-in and, make their presence felt. I'd like to see Trevor Lee out of the X Division myself, and I hope that he doesn't win this match. And you've mentioned maybe a feud with Garza and Trevor Lee. That could be great. I don't think Trevor Lee is really X Division style right now. He is everywhere else, but Impact would get him out of it. I'd like to see maybe him and Conley team up and go into tag team and bring Andrew Everett into there. And we take those two and have them maybe feud with Petey and Sanjay in the tag team division, make it those 4 teams, adding the 2 in the title match. Put that as into like a big feud because we just lost Reno Scum. But when it comes down to it, man, I would have said Seidel as my pick. Other than Petey Williams, the other person I want to win is Desmond Xavier. I want to see him get that rub. I feel like he's the next big thing in that division. I want to see more X Division. But, my pick previously, like I said, it was Matt Seidel 100% until I found out Garza was put in there. Garza getting this main event push is out of the blue. I don't know if that's justified. I feel their big fucking thing to do is to try and make him the star and really elevate him. So I think it's almost a no-brainer to me that it's going to Garza Jr., although, honestly, out of everyone in there, the only person I would rather see – I would rather Garza win than either Trevor Lee or Sanjay Dutt. Anyone else I'd rather see win than him. But I think Garza is taking the match, and we'll see something go from there. And the new X Division face of the X Division for a little bit is going to be Garza Jr.
Let me throw something at you, Raven Effect. Now, let's say that you're right. Heck, let's say I'm right. Let's say either one of us is right. That leaves Desmond Xavier and Matt Seidel with nothing to do. Now, how'd you like to have those guys as the next coming of the Motor City Machine Guns or Generation Me? Those two can frickin' fly and would look awesome together in that tag division.
Yeah, I agree, man. We need tag teams bad. I'd love to see those two do something. Truthfully, man, I mean, if you listen to the show where I did my Bound for Glory card, that's the rivalry for me, really. And I think, we could do kind of Desmond Xavier kind of go into the heel mode. I kind of had it liken him to John Bones Jones, where he's this nice guy who is really fucking good. He wins the Super X Cup his rookie year. And then, let's say he goes on and wins the X Division Championship, kind of like John Jones just came out and beat Shogun Hua out of nowhere. And then just catapulted. Let's say Desmond Xavier just keeps getting so good, his ego just gets massive and very gradually becomes a heel and just cocky and just kind of this dick that's still so good. And then, you can have him and Seidel. And I think they're one of these guys, there's 5 faces, there's 1 heel. Maybe we'll get a heel turn from someone. I hope they don't split Petey and Sanjay into a heel turn. That's the only 2 I don't want because I want them to be the tag team champs at some point.
They don't make good heels. They're not going to make good heels. None of those 5 guys, I think, make good heels. Maybe Garza.
Man, we know Petey's been a good heel. We've seen Petey back in the days. He was always a heel, Team Canada.
I suppose. But he's not going to go over heel in Canada. I don't know.
My thing for the new Team Canada is I want to see an odd couple, kind of like this fucking Team Canada that doesn't really mesh well because they're just so different. But I want to see Crazy Steve and Petey Williams and Rosemary and maybe LVN and just someone else that's Canadian in there. And I feel like Crazy Steve, Rosemary, LVN, and Petey Williams, their characters and all that, like they're all so good at what they do. I think they could actually make this weird, odd pairing of Team Canada actually kind of work. I think there could be comedy out of it, and I think, it could be legit.
I mean, you might as well throw Allie and Taya in there, too. What the hell?
Yeah, we got to throw Allie in there with her and Rosemary. Who knows, man? I mean, we might get the Knockouts Tag Team Championships back.
Maybe Gail can manage them.
Maybe. There's got to be one more guy on the roster that's Canadian somewhere. Well, shit, as far as we know, they're bringing in a lot of Canadian, homegrown talent. So, Bret Hart for Team Canada? Kidding. Do I need to go with the Blue Blazer joke to throw this in there as a new manager somehow?
No, man.
There are these wrestling fans that find everything as a work. So, someone had asked if we thought maybe the Jeff Jarrett angle was a work. Him getting fired and going to rehab may be a work. You brought up on a side.
If somebody asked that question, the answer is yes. Yes, you figured it out. Thank you, Chris 20K. You got it, buddy.
I forgot about my boy Chris. Chris, how you doing, bud? Been a long time. So, all right, man. Geez, good God, what comes next? I'm just gonna predict how the card goes. So let's go to the next most lackluster match. So I just can't even fucking believe it's happening. So let's go Team Impact versus Team AAA. We have El Hijo de Fantasma versus Pagano, not the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Pagano, but Pagano. He's strange-looking clown that I don't even know, man. He looks like a cross of Crazy Steve's first thing and that. What is he? Yeah, okay, the clown. I don't even care. Let's see here. Tejano against EC3, Cowboy James Storm, and Eddie Edwards. I don't feel like Team AAA has been built up enough to seem like a credible challenger, but in the process, they've just buried the living shit out of EC3. I'm so frustrated with this, man. I'm actually going to let you kind of take over for a sec, but I guess thoughts on the build, match, predictions?
I mean, they did it all wrong. I mean, you heard it earlier this week, my thoughts on this. And I said it with FK9 as well. Storm's promo about Taco Bell needed to happen in Mexico. And the heat would have been nuclear, right? And then you'd be fair. So you let the AAA guys come up and make some stupid comment about, us Americans as well. Then this whole thing would be over. Instead, I just want this whole thing to be over. So I honestly don't care who wins this match. I think that they will protect Team AAA as much as they can. I don't think that Eddie Edwards is taking the pin. I just don't think that they're going to let the Noah champ do it. So I don't think it's going to be him. EC3 still has a belt around his waist as well. So I'm going to say that the Storm eats the pinfall from Phantasma.
Wow, you're actually choosing Team AAA to win?
I am, because they buried Team Impact so much already. Why not? Why not build Team AAA versus Team Impact and give Team Impact something to fight back about during the tapings? Versus it's over, Team Impact won. This thing hasn't been built at all, man. So why does it matter if Team Impact wins? I really don't care. I mean that. I really don't care.
I care for the fact because I'm tired of seeing my fucking guy, the one that's been built, the only guy in the history of this company that they built up properly and perfect, like the one that they didn't fucking drop the ball with building to, that they like, hey, you know what, let's just throw him to shit because for some reason.
You must be talking about James Storm, right?
You know what, man, don't even get me started on the way they fucked James Storm over too. This guy should have been champ the past, Jesus Christ, going back to 2015. He did the best character work of his entire career, yet the Revolution jobbed every fucking match that they ever had. And Storm was just, fuck John Gaburek, seriously.
You should have 4 or 5 title reigns by now, Storm. 4 or 5. 4 or 5, folks, not like a week in real time and 2 or 3 weeks TV time.
Yeah. I mean,
so you're talking about EC3. EC3 is the one guy they built properly. All right, I was just being a jerk.
Oh, I knew that. I figured, the rest of the audience probably might know, but who knows? No, Eddie's not going to eat that pin because he's the Noah champion or the GHC or whatever it's called there. I don't know, the DOGG. So he's got that title. And Noah, if we've watched these past couple of matches, man, and if you heard me the other week, I went on a fucking tangent about how I would have never put that match from AAA on my TV screen if I were Impact because of the pile driver, or the tombstone, the EC3-8, and then the long time it took before just Tejano came over and just covered him and got the 3 count. You made EC3 look like a joke. They had the match last week, the tag team match, where EC3 was fucking down for the count again, but James Storm, did the dastardly trick and got the last call and won it. They have fucked over EC3 so goddamn bad that it's just, I don't know how they keep the guy around. And I don't know if this was like a pissing contest because his last name was Carter and they just wanted to bury the Dixie Carter thing, but it's a joke. And this person is the fucking grand champion who hasn't defended the belt at all. That belt has got to just, something's got to happen with that belt, either defend it, but they just got to get rid of this rule. And EC3, I'm glad he's a champ and they're not completely shitting on his career because let's be honest, they're still completely shitting on his career. But
well, they didn't give him a singles match. at the
No,
biggest pay-per-view of the year for this belt. Now they're doing us all a favor because that's one stipulation nobody really wants to see anyhow.
no. You know what I think they should do is they should make the matches 15-minute time limit match, normal wrestling match, and then if it goes to 15 minutes, then the judges give their decision. But yeah. Anyways, sidetrack. I want this angle over with. I get what you're saying about Team Impact having something to fight for on these tapings. I just hope there's nothing going on in these tapings. Period. Like, drop this fucking angle. Only Impact Wrestling would be stupid enough to have their team lose on the big pay-per-view card on the big Fallout match. But hey, you know what? Only Impact Wrestling would be stupid enough to do that. I'm picking Team Impact to win. I would hope to see EC3 get a pinfall. I think anyone but EC3 will get the win. It's just, are these guys that big? Or like Tejano and Chuck Pagano and Phantasma, are they like that big? I mean, are they the equivalent of what James Storm, Eddie Edwards, and EC3 should be to Impact?
I don't personally know because I don't watch AAA. I'm hoping to get them on the Global Wrestling Network, but I don't follow them. I know Johnny Impact's a pretty big deal. He doesn't look hard.
And he is a pretty big deal beforehand too, but yeah,
kind of carries their belt around, doesn't he?
That he does. You never see it on Impact TV, but that's, you know what, man, if it just kind of dawns on me, if Johnny Impact goes over and Team AAA goes over, that's 2 matches on the card where Team AAA goes over Impact, in big matches. You know what I mean? And so I'm just saying this. I have no problem with the Team AAA versus Team Impact feud at Bound for Glory. I just feel like the 3 guys representing Team Impact should be represented by someone else. And I understand you want to have like pretty good people representing your company, but they could have used 3 other ones. Because I feel like, as anyone knows, I feel that maybe James Storm and EC3 should be in a heavyweight championship match against Eli in a 3-way. And maybe Johnny Impact could be in the spot, or Johnny Impact and Eddie Edwards and, maybe someone else. And I also feel like on a big event like this, why isn't Eddie Edwards defending the NOAH championship? Why not against Marufuji or whatever his name is? It's he's always been wrestling, or someone else from Impact that's been on the company going over there, like Moose or Lashley or something. Not Lashley, I'm tired of that match, but just something. You know what I mean? And so I feel like Team Impact absolutely has to go over, and I think they're going to.
I mean, that would be great. I suppose.
Sorry for the rant, everyone. Why not Eddie Edwards, PD, and Sanjay? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on Eddie Edwards already and where he should be in this card. I mean, that's just the biggest miss in probably Bound for Glory history. What a stupid, stupid, stupid mistake that was.
With the global thing that they're doing and with these partnerships and all of that, I mean, why not have that NOAH championship defended on your big pay-per-view? I mean, wouldn't that make the NOAH people happy?
No, you put him in the main event. You put the Impact champion versus the AAA champion versus the NOAH champion, and you do something that nobody else can do anywhere. That's what they had to do. They had to put Eddie Edwards in the main event. Oh, by the way, Eddie Edwards, he can kind of wrestle if you guys haven't noticed over the years. Put him in the main event. Bring all 3 belts out. Put the Impact title on the line. Okay? And put it all up for grabs. By putting the Impact title on the line, you make it seem like it's the one everybody wants, right? Then that way nobody else has to lose their belt. All 3 companies are represented. The fans have something to order. If they do that, and now I'm going on my rant. If they do that, and they let James Storm talk about Taco Bell in Mexico, and they let AAA do something similar up in the Impact Zone, you might actually get people that are AAA fans to buy the damn show. You might actually get Lucha Underground fans that know some of these folks from there to buy the damn show. But they literally are in a position, folks, to do something that nobody else can and take champions from all corners of the globe that are all under Impact contract because Eli Drake, Johnny Impact, and Eddie Edwards are all on the Impact roster. They can bring all 3 belts out and say, look what we can do. Screw you, WWE. Screw you, ROH and New Japan. Y'all can't do this. Champion versus champion versus champion. Would have been epic.
You know what? I'm going to give you props for that, man, because I never thought about that at all. That would be fucking great, to be honest. It is something that no one else can do. And, you have the biggest company in Mexico in AAA. I know Noah is by far not the biggest company in Japan, but apparently at one time they were really big. That could be awesome. Fuck, what if it was winner takes all? You know what I mean? Like, make this promotion thing go even better. And then you have the champion, Eli Drake, coming out to Impact with the fucking Noah Championship on one shoulder, with the AAA Championship on the other, with the Impact around his waist. It could be pretty awesome. So, do we throw the Global Wrestling Network dude on the Impact creative team? Because apparently they need to hire.
I think I just thought it'd be like dude. Like
just dude.
Just dude. Just dude. I can't wait till they change their name again so Johnny Impact can feel my pain. That's all I'm saying.
The thought dot. That dude over there. Oh man. So
what's next? What match we got next? Is that what was a difficult one?
It was. So let's go to another one that has no frustration whatsoever, that this man is in a bigger profile match than EC3, James Storm, or Eddie Edwards on this card. But Grado taking on the Monster Abyss with the return of my man, the Sinister Minister himself, Dr. James Mitchell. Monsters Ball. Look, Hurls and I talked 2 weeks ago. We've seen this match before on January 2016's One Night Only Live. Which was, in my opinion, the most impressive match Grado's been in his entire TNA career that I've ever seen Grado do. Hurls and I had said we both kind of expect some broken, brilliant shenanigans kind of stuff, make a difference, like they did at Slammiversary.
So who you got? Raven Effect. So apparently, folks, Raven Effect has dropped off because he got so excited about Abyss versus Grado that he couldn't just hang in with us any longer. So I'll go with my prediction instead. And my prediction is pretty darn simple. If you go on the Wikipedia page for Bound for Glory 2017, here's what it says under match number 6. Abyss with James Mitchell versus Grado in a Monsters Ball match is a stipulation. And it says, I quote, if Grado loses, his work visa is terminated and he must leave the U.S. Now, clearly, we've had some screw-ups with this entire shenanigans because obviously Bound for Glory was meant to be, in the U.S., but it's not. It's in Canada. And clearly, when this match was booked, we were all expecting Grado to go over in this match. But now there's no reason for Grado to go over in this match. So I'm going to predict, and this is my wild prediction. We all know that there are going to be some folks that debut during this show, that Grado will lose this match. His work visa will be terminated, and then somebody's going to tell him he's already left the U.S. And that somebody could be anybody, but let's not rule out the fact that it could be one Laurel Van Ness, who is just waiting for some kind of an angle. The last angle that she was in was with Grado when he dumped her because, she couldn't help him out because she was Canadian. So somebody's going to tell him, whether it's LVN or somebody else, Grado's going to lose this match. They're going to make it seem like he has to win. And then they're going to tell you, oh, wait a minute, we have a way out of it. And we're going to get Crazy Steve back because I love me some Crazy Steve. Raven Effect. Well, I can hear you now. Actually, I can't hear you. Nobody can hear you.
Not falling for that one, but
not again anyway.
I'm not pulling a numero on us.
Numero
pretty
good.
I'm not entirely too sure where I cut out at. So I don't know if you cut the part. So Hurls and I are expecting some kind of broken, brilliant shenanigans. Are you like they did with what was it? Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner against Joseph Park and Jeremy Borash. Are you expecting we're going to see something along those lines?
We may. We might also get some of that in the 51-50 street fight as well. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because that was a Billy Corgan thing, and every regime seems to throw away from the previous regime. I think we'd all like to see that, but especially them cutting production costs. I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd be cool though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And I think, you got to kind of distance and separate it from the match we've already seen. We've already seen Abyss against Grado in the Monsters Ball. So maybe do it a little differently this way. I'm excited that James Mitchell's going to be back, and I know people are going to hate the fucking shit out of me for this, and I don't know if the guy's going to stick around with the company, but when you think about kind of monsters and freaks and stuff that you would see with Dr. James Mitchell, you have Abyss is old. He's kind of breaking down. I'd love to see Crazy Steve come back and maybe him run DK. Probably keep Rosemary separate. But there's a guy out there, when you think about a monster, powerful tag team that kind of don't have much of a voice, we could be seeing maybe dare I say, a Congo Kong and Abyss tag team managed by Dr. James Mitchell. I know I'm going to take heat on that, but look, you got to find something to do with the roster. We need tag teams. But, yeah, I think this whole thing about the visa part, I think that could be a way out and a loophole. They're going to keep the guy on TV. I don't want to see him go over Abyss, especially with James Mitchell coming back. Can you still hear me?
What? Did you say something?
Yeah. All right. Computer issues, folks. I just hear a noise, so I'm expecting to cut out. But, yeah, I think Grado is going to either win or what you're saying about that stipulation to keep him on TV, which I hate. I feel Abyss, man, like, I don't know if we're ever going to get this Hall of Fame, but it's either got to be Storm or Abyss this year, and I feel like Abyss should not get beat by Grado on this fucking pay-per-view, and it's just going to kill the Monsters mystique, which has already been just dragged through the mud since about 2014 when Bjork took over. But, yeah, Grado's not leaving, folks, as much as I wish that he was. No offense, because you do seem like you're a pretty good guy. In all actuality, I've heard your stand-up shtick is fantastic from what my boy Count was saying. He apparently, like, rides a little bike around. Who's not fucking laughing at that, right?
Count rides a little bike around?
No, Grado
does.
This
explains a lot. Like, oh, it's Grado.
Count had said that he read Grado's comedy review, his stand-up comedy that he does, and apparently his like big main closing act is he gets on a little bike and rides it around on stage.
When did he say that? I missed that.
I'm not sure, but what I had said was, man, I thought British humor was the worst, but apparently Scottish has got it beat.
Wow.
No offense to my fans in the UK. Love you, Nick.
Is that your dog barking in the background?
No, it's my old dog is coughing. He has a collapsed trachea from all the years that he's my little dog here, Muppy. I didn't name him at all.
Muppy.
I got him when he was 10 years old, and, you know, his owner, she'd already given him that name. Lord knows I would have never named him that, but basically he doesn't like to chew his food that much, so there's been twice in this dog's life since I've had him that he got a treat and decided, hey, I don't want to chew this, swallowed it, and almost choked to death. I've actually physically saved this dog's life once, but a $2,000 vet bill the first time and getting stuff out of his throat. So he's got that cough going down because his collapsed trachea, so you might hear that from time to time on this show.
So we have something else in common, or maybe just something in common. I actually saved my dog's life this weekend, believe it or not. She had a seizure and she was under her blanket and was like kind of stuck, you know, and she's 17 and a half and she's blind and deaf and everything else. And I happened to come home and I checked on her because, you know, when you have a dog like that, you always check on her. And she was basically panting because she was overheating from the seizure. And I got her to water and got her cooled off or whatnot. She wouldn't have made it if I hadn't. So see, we got something going on.
That's totally.
Her name's Peanut, and I did name her, so, you know.
I'm glad your dog pulled through and you saved her life.
Yeah.
Other thing common, my little old man here is 15 or 16, cannot remember exactly, but he also got cataracts, not fully blind, also has seizures. I got to give him medicine 2 times a day for his seizures, has to take phenobarbital.
Peanut's the same way. She gets medicine twice a day.
Yeah. Things we do for our dogs, we got to love them.
Darn right. All right, moving on.
Yeah. So here's my prediction for the next match is going to be the Tag Team Championship. Ohio versus Everything versus LAX, 51-50 street fight. So apparently it's supposed to be like any member of LAX is involved. Did they say, I thought I heard someone say a 5-on-2, so it would technically, and I know they said Homicide is back, thank God, but that'd be Homicide, Santana Ortiz, Conan and Diamante, unless it's not going to be Conan because he can't be too physically active. And maybe we get a new member, maybe an Alberto, who we're going to talk at the very end. And then we've heard the rumor. Actually, apparently it's not a rumor, but Sami Callihan apparently has shown up on Impact TV. He teams with OBE on the Indies, apparently. And so Sami Callihan is apparently going to be making his debut. Man, I got quite a bit to say on this one, but Impact Dude, I'm going to go to you. kick it off on your thoughts here.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, folks. I am obviously not the biggest OVE fan, right? Just not. I'm not feeling it. I mean, the name alone, Ohio versus everything. Does that imply that they I don't know, go beat up random buildings or something? Right? It's just terrible. And these guys, they should not be the champions. They're the champions by default because you had to take it off LAX at some point. So they're talking that they're going to debut Sami Callihan, right? Who apparently works with OVE on the Indies. And that kind of leads you to believe that OVE goes over in this match. I think what they really need to do is they really need to take the straps off these guys, and they really need to build them up a little bit. And they need to repurpose them. They cannot be Ohio versus everything anymore. They could be the Christs. Heck, that's the season of the year. Call them Christmas. Okay, whatever you want to do something with them. That's not whatever it is that they're doing now. They're just Everett's all wrong, right? Put the straps back on LAX and then bring somebody in, or when I say bring somebody in, it doesn't have to be in from the outside. It can be in from the inside, but to actually feud with them, it's going to be solid. And you mentioned before Raven Effect, Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley or Andrew Everett or some form of the three. It could be, like the Freebird style type of thing, right? If I'm correct, the Bullet Club's doing a little bit of that in New Japan right now, or in ROH actually. It could be something like that and have them feud with LAX, right? Anything, but pull Ohio versus everything out of this event, bring them down the card. That maybe they're the ones that feud with Trevor and Caleb, and maybe you take Matt Sydal and Desmond Xavier and put them in the championship scene or anybody else. So the LAX needs to go over in this. I feel like it's probably going to be OVE. I really do. I feel like that's probably who's going to go over. So I'm actually going to pick OVE, but it really needs to be LAX.
I mean, look, man, my thoughts. I think this is going to be a good match because you got the street fight element. Those are always fun. And I fucking have loved every single match I've seen LAX be in as far as their performance. And I think these dudes are really, really, really a special tag team. And this is a special stable. The fact of the matter is LAX should still be the champions. They should not have ever dropped these belts to start with. They should be going. They took a tag team. We had this debate when this show first started, when the new regime kicked in. And we were talking tag team wrestling. And we said there's no one credible on this roster as a tag team. And I tried to build it up, and you guys just said, no, you're not. There's been a very lack of challengers and competitors for LAX. LAX, because they've had Conan there, because of the work they've done, is legitimate as fuck. They are extremely credible, and they're one of the hottest acts in this company, no matter how you look at it. LAX is over as shit. I mean, they sold out at those house shows, man, when you would see when Low-Key was going to get that title shot or whatnot at the Destination X show. I mean, the crowd was so hot and pumped for LAX. And I feel like what should have happened is LAX should have been champion, this dominant reign going into Bound for Glory, and whoever was going to end up challenging them be built up pretty hard, and then we finally see them beat at this show. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like this should be LAX against PD and Sanjay, because I feel like OVE has not been that over. I've heard some folks say that OVE is getting, kind of growing on them. But I don't think OVE has been that impressive. They should never have been given the belts. They should have been built up more, either going into this match, or they should have a side feud. Like they could have been against Reno Scum, but that's failed. Or it could have been against Conley and Everett, something along those lines for a pre-show match. And we should have a pre-show match on this card, one or two, especially with the network now. And honestly, so I don't know how it's going to happen in Canada, right? But I swear to God, I feel that if this match would have taken place in the Impact Zone or in the United States, I honestly got to feel that LAX would have been getting the face props and OVE was going to get booed out. I really feel that I feel that strongly. Impact, dude, neither of us, because we don't watch WWE. I've watched it more recently than you, because I stopped in 2012 and you stopped, I don't know when.
Neither do I.
I have never seen a Sami Callihan perform. I've heard good things. I've never seen a guy perform. I know he used to be in NXT, apparently was on Lucha, and is married to or the boyfriend of Havoc, Jessica Havoc. So obviously he's got great taste in hot women. But,
exactly. He's doing good for himself.
What I do want to see is I want to see Homicide stop being booked like such a fucking joke, because Homicide is still legit, and I want to see him get involved there. I want to see Diamante get in there and kick some ass, and I cannot wait to see this girl finally get cleared to perform, because I think she's going to take the entire Knockouts division by storm. I think LAX must win. They have to fucking win this match. It's just, with Callahan coming around, it kind of throws a loophole as to what could happen. But I feel like LAX has to win, and I feel like the company knows that and sees that, and I think LAX does go over 51-50. Yay!
I hope so. I really do. I just trying to figure out who would be worse on Twitter to have to be married to, Reby Hardy or Jessica Havoc, and it's really.
I get.
Havoc did make a pretty bad mistake, but she stopped making it. Reby just keeps going.
Keeps putting her foot or one of those. Okay, let's be honest. Reby could never put her foot past those tits to get into her mouth, but I mean, she's putting something in her mouth that's maybe broken, but not any brilliant anymore.
Be kind of fun to watch it try.
Yeah, it's Matt Hardy's decrepit erection, broken penis, however you want to look at it. You know. But fuck you, Matt Hardy. Anyways, so look, there's been discussion. Hurls and I discussed this the last time we were on the show as to what Knockouts match was going to close the show, or to be the final match on the card between the women's matches. So Gail Kim apparently came out this week and said that Bound for Glory is going to be her last televised match. So this could literally be the final match of Gail Kim, so I'm going to hold that one off. And so I think that we're going to get the Red Wedding match prior. I think that's going to be the first one. If it's Gail's final match, if it's her final match, the last time we will see the legend, like the best women's wrestler by far in this company's history, I think, of all time. If it's going to be her very last match, her swan song, it's Gail. I think that's going to be either the co-main event or, dare I say, possibly the main event to do it for Gail. But I think we're gonna have Rosemary versus Taya. Is it Taya or Taya? Taya, right?
Taya. And wow, I'm gonna we can do this one next, but I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna say that the 3-way, which used to be a 4-way, is just not nearly built as well as this one. But we'll do this one next.
No, it's nowhere near built as well as this one. It probably should not. Be on this one.
You've got two. You've got two Canadians in both spots. You're in Rosemary's backyard. So, I mean, but that's all right. We'll talk Rosemary and Taya. I like this is one match I want to talk about.
All right. Well, you start it off then.
Well, I mean, look, this is a match that's been built well. You've got Taya coming in. You've got Gail Kim basically saying that Taya is the one to basically pass the torch to, which kind of took me by surprise. And she also mentioned Allie. She did not mention Rosemary in there. And yes, I take offense to that, Gail. And yes, you are wrong, Gail. And every single fan knows it. But they brought Taya in. They brought her in a very high level. And she's performed at that level. Like, she's the gal that nobody knows. But Raven Effect, she's also the gal that's like acted like everybody should know her. And everybody knows her now. She is very special. She does have an incredible ring presence. And she deserves to be in this spot. I mean, she's earned it, which is really saying a lot considering how phenomenal Sienna's been, how awesome Allie's been. I mean, Gail's Gail. We don't even have Laurel Van Ness on this card, and she's been amazing. But Taya is worthy of this particular spot. Taya's been getting one up on Rosemary, and Josh Matthews said something which really, warmed my heart, so to speak, by saying that this is a feud for the next 5 to 10 years. Rosemary versus Taya. Now, I don't think either one of them has, they're sorry, ladies, you're a little bit old to have 10 years left in the tank, but we'll root for you, right? But for sure, the next 5 years. So they've had to build Taya, and the best way to build somebody is at the expense of the face of the division. And let's face it, Gail stepped back, and rightfully so. Rosemary's the face of the division. However, this is a Red Wedding match. This is Rosemary's match. It's a first blood match. This is her thing. They're both Canadian, but this is Rosemary's backyard. right? This is where she works a lot versus Taya, who works, more the California lines in Mexico. So Rosemary's going over in this match. It's about time that she got even with Taya for some of the things that Taya's been doing to her. She's going to go over. It's going to be a fantastic match, and I don't think you're going to see any shenanigans or any interference. What I think you're going to see is you're going to see two girls go at it that do not like each other. You're going to see a grudge match, and you're going to see both of these women. They're both very intelligent as wrestlers that build not just to have a blow off match here, but this is the beginning of the future in this match. And I think if there's one reason to really look at this card and say, 5 years from now, when we look back on it, what was the most important match? This is going to be the most important match on this card, because this is kind of where it all started with Rosemary and Taya.
Yeah, I mean, this one's became a little bit harder for me to predict because, look, all logic and everything heading up to this match says Rosemary. It's time for Rosemary to get, because Taya's one-upped her every single time. Like you said, it's time for Rosemary to finally get that win. It's her kind of a match. She ate the pinfall clean to the heel. And, yeah, Taya's came in with, by storm. Her and her boyfriend, Johnny Impact, have just came in and they've been built to stars. I mean, I feel like most viewers already knew who John Morrison Impact was, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo, for some that actually watch Lucha. But for me, myself, and for you as well, I believe, I mean, we don't watch Lucha Underground, so I didn't really know who Taya was. She's came in, she's looked like a superstar, she's went over that way, and she's been impressive. So, everything leads up to me saying this is Rosemary's time to win it, and hopefully she does, and that's who I want to win, and that has been my pick this whole time. However, if this thing with Gail Kim, Bound for Glory, going to be her final match is true, the way I look at it is that this leads a Knockouts Championship tournament. Now, there could be the Knockouts Tag Team titles coming back, and we're going to see Rosemary and Allie together. I feel if this is Gail's final match, she's winning the belt. But basically this, you have the tournament go down, and it probably comes down to Rosemary versus Allie or Rosemary versus Taya, and that would be where they put the new face, they crown the new face of the Knockouts, and I feel like it's Rosemary that's going to win, if not Allie. So, and maybe Rosemary gets her clean pinfall victory in the end over Taya Valkyrie. But man, it's hard for me to pick this one now. I think it's going to be an awesome match. You don't see first blood in women's wrestling. I don't know if it's happened in another company, but this is something that's pretty rare, and it's pretty awesome that Impact's allowing this to happen. But I'll still go with my original pick, and I'm going to give it to Rosemary.
Yeah, bear in mind, Raven Effect, I mean, I think you make a lot of sense with what you're saying, but there's also Sienna that would have to be factored into that tournament. And Sienna versus Taya, and I know you're talking heel versus heel here, but that's still a really interesting watch there. You know what I'm saying? That could happen as well. I think more likely than not, you'd probably get, you'd probably get Rosemary versus Sienna and, Taya versus Allie. You know what I'm saying? And if you were doing semifinals, my guess is you got some of these other gals that are coming in that'll be part of that, but they probably save those for the semis anyway. And in which case, actually that'd be a pretty good tournament bracket, wouldn't it? Forget who's going to win. That would actually just be kind of fun to watch. So yeah, I mean, I think it do make sense, but I still think that Rosemary gets her comeuppance here.
A couple things that were brought up here. So, and I hate the fact that this is coming out as true. And I actually meant to say this 2 segments ago, but there has been, I'm pretty sure someone had said it on her Twitter. She even confirmed it that Laura Van Ness is not going to be at these tapings at all or Bound for Glory, which I think just sucks, and it's a massive mistake. Through the first half of the year, I mean, Hurl's Chef and myself, we all did our award choices, and everyone for most improved of the year so far was LVN, and I think this chick's got a lot of just star power, not necessarily superstar or whatever, but something that gets over. She's done awesome in her job. She's Canadian. I mean, I would hate for them to not bring her on, and I feel like, after, what's her name, Taryn left, I mean, you could throw LVN in that match and still make it a 4-way, but there's just, the possibility of her not being there. That will certainly suck, and I think that'll be a big loss for the company. The other thing, when you talk about Sienna versus Taya, some things I've been thinking about as far as this company and angles and matches that's going to happen. I think within 6 months to a year at max, I think that Sienna's going to be a face, and a Sienna versus Taya feud will happen, because I feel like one of these other two girls we've been talking about is going to have a heel turn at some point too. But I also feel, man, if they do these knockouts tag team championships, final match coming down to it at the end, if we're not going to have Laura Van Ness, Sienna and Taya versus Team Demon Bunny 2 could happen if that actually does get back. But there's just some thoughts of mine. But yeah, Impact, if you're listening, anyone, don't get rid of Laurel. Keep that girl around.
Yeah, I think, she also tweeted out, I think it was today, actually it was yesterday. I have it in front of me, believe it or not. I'm content where I am. Who knows what the future holds, whether that's Impact, ROH, WWE, Indies. I'll be happy as long as I'm wrestling. And somebody had tweeted something, and she's just like, hey, I'm very happy where I am doing what I'm doing. And it shows in her work. You know what I'm saying? I have heard the rumor that she's not going to be there. I have not seen it myself written anywhere, though. So this is one of those ones where it doesn't mean that it's not true because, Impact Dude or whatever I'm calling myself today hasn't seen it. But it also, I haven't seen it, right? So there's hope. And I don't want for her to, to not be there. We need our Laurel Van Ness.
Yeah, we do, man. She's been killing it, and it'll be a big loss, and hopefully they smarten up. I guess the last point I was going to say, and we'll move on, but we talk about how we feel Rosemary should be the face of the division and all that, and you talk about Gail Kim's comment about it being between Allie and Taya. Look, we know Gail is going to move on to become an agent for the company. This regime, man, they may not be as high on Rosemary as the past was. When she came around, we had Sienna go over in that unification match. She's been taking these jobs. She hasn't been. I figured she'd be in the title match, but it is what it is, and hopefully they aren't missing the point with Rosemary there too.
Wait a minute. Stop. You sound like a lot of the guys on Asylum right now. Let's talk about how they've screwed up Rosemary, okay? Because I think this is worthy of saying. They have piped in crowd noise to make sure that she is over. Okay, they have made her the face of the GWN app. They made her the champ for the better part of this year, right? At least the first 6 months of the year, basically, she was the champ. Since then, she was obviously the champ going into Slammiversary, and she is in my opinion, higher booked match leading into Bound for Glory. Okay, they have let her do her thing and pretty much be at the center and the focal point of everything throughout the year. This is a girl that they are not down on her at all. The fact that she's not the champ is just because she can't be the champ all the time. Otherwise, you have Hogan from the 80s, where he was the champ for 4 consecutive years. You can't do that in 2017. So, no offense, buddy, but I'm kind of tired of hearing people say they don't know what to do with her. I mean, they're doing everything they can do with her except strapping the belt on and saying you're Gail Cena 2.0, okay? And you're just completely unbeatable. She's been beaten a couple times, and we're not used to that, and we're her biggest fans, so we don't like it, and I don't like it. I want to see her win every match. I want to see her be the champ. But at the same point in time, I mean, my God, they've given this girl the forum. They've given her the ball, man. She's got it.
I mean, look, I don't know if I sound like I came off misquoted or misspoke. I don't think by any means that they have ruined her. Or they've necessarily booked her poorly by any stretch of the imagination. I do think she's in the hotter feud. And I don't know if they're piping in sound noise or what, but I feel like Rosemary is probably the most over thing that comes out in the Impact Zone. I think maybe between her, when you see James Storm come out, I don't know that anyone's getting bigger reactions. And throw LAX in there too. I think those are the most over ones. And I'm not saying that they don't see her as a champion or that they've used her poorly or anything along those lines. I'm just saying most of us expected by the time this year ended, knowing Gail's leaving, Gail was going to put Rosemary over and they'd move Rosemary as a face of the division. They just may see someone else as being the face of the division. That's all I'm saying.
It wasn't you as much as I've had to reply to a couple of folks, on Asylum, that are just like, they don't know what to do with Rosemary. They're letting her, fall away. She's going to leave, this, that, the other. And I'm like, my God, what more do you want them to do with her? So I would say that my comment was probably, I don't want to say taken out of context, but it was probably given to you out of context. It's probably more like it, right? It's on me for sure, but it's really based on some comments that I've seen on Asylum. And a couple times I've spouted back out at people, if you forget this and you forget this, and I go on about all the things the good things that have happened for that gal this year. So don't take it personally. It really wasn't directed at you.
No, I get that. Trust me, if there's anything lately that can get me kind of fired up to where I say some shit on this show, it's some of the comments on Asylum as of late, because the fucking entire sky is falling at times. And I'm not even that positive on the company right now, but the sky seems to be falling at all times to all but like 5 or 6 people who the sky can never fall, sort of a thing. But yeah, I mean, shit, I even forgot the last point I was going to say on it, but time to move on. And look, anyone that's saying they don't know what they're doing with Rosemary and she's going to leave, no one's fucking came out and stood up for the company more than Rosemary has in her role and all that. I mean, they know what they're doing. Trust me, she's not being buried by any stretch of the imagination. So, and yeah, look, she can't be champion 24/7. And if she's going to look like Hogan from the 80s, I mean, she's a little bit more attractive, but I mean, who didn't have a crush on the Hulkster, right? Kidding. So, look, man, moving on. And this one is something I felt kind of lackluster about to start, but especially what transpired this past Saturday has became different to me. We have the 6 sides of steel representing American Top Team with possibly Dan Lambert in the corner and Colby Covington, who I'll touch on here, but that's Big Bobby Lashley, King Mo against the American Psycho Stephan Bonnar and Moose. This is really taking a turn for me, dude. I thought this was going to be a little bit lame, but man, Dan Lambert knocking that promo out the box the other day. And that the skits have been really corny and cheesy acting, but look, man, you have 2 legitimate fighters. Actually, not legitimate. Actually, you do have 2 legitimate fighters in Lashley and King Mo. You have a guy who's in the UFC Hall of Fame, not necessarily for his winnings and success in the company, but the match with Forrest Griffin at the Ultimate Fighter finale that really put eyes on UFC more than most people. And a guy who I feel in 2018, by the time Bound for Glory is over, is going to be the Impact Heavyweight Champion. I will not use the word global. But Moose, Impact dude, your thoughts on this one?
Well, let's talk about what they need to do to make this match really do something. What they need to do is they need to fly Colby Covington in for this match, right? They need to get him involved. Is he going to be there?
He is going to be there. He had to get clearance from the UFC and all that, but man, yeah. I just wish he would have said something on Saturday when he had fucking garbage raining down on his head prior.
Well, he said he had a lot on his mind on Saturday. I mean, he really did. They need to promote the crap out of the fact that he's going to be there, because that guy, I mean, look, what was he ranked coming into this match with Damian Maia? It was top 15 probably. I mean, he wasn't a big deal. He's an up and coming.
I believe it was 8.
8. Okay, so he's
higher than I thought.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, like I know the name, but I don't follow the UFC quite as much as you do, so I hadn't seen him. And Damian Maia has been around for a while, so it's not exactly like he beat the champ or anything. But dude made a name for himself afterwards. He went full on heel. It was like, you know what? He was really learning from Lashley down there at American Top Team, and probably more Dan Lambert, because Dan Lambert's just a hell of a heel. I love that guy. God, I wish he would just manage wrestling full time, be a manager. He's legit, man. He's legit. They need to get Colby Covington in there, and they need to promote the crap out of the fact that he's in this. And we need to see nonstop between now and Sunday, Colby Covington, right? Colby will get the rub. Impact Wrestling will get the rub. But, Eric Bischoff once said it. Okay, maybe he wrote a book titled it, Controversy Creates Cash. Well, Colby Covington created some serious controversy this week, folks, in a major way. In fact, he did what James Storm should have done in Mexico, in Brazil, only he did it in kind of a worse way, right? And he did it like not in a wrestling ring where they go, okay, yeah, we know you're just trying to get us angry. Outside of that, they got to get Dan Lambert involved. And I'm so tired of hearing people talk about how Dan Lambert sucks. Why is he on my TV screen? Tell you why he's on your TV screen. He's one of the best talkers they've got. Dude is on fire. Okay, this guy is legit. His antics are legit. And he has proven the hard way that he knows a lot about wrestling as well, which I thought was kind of cool. But Moose and Bonnar versus King Mo and Lashley, this just feels like one where the good guys have to win. I mean, Moose hasn't really gotten anything on Lashley at this point, right? He did throw. Who did he throw? Who was the guy he threw out of the ring last week anyway? Who was that guy? I don't know who he is. Guy weighs about 130 pounds, man. He weighs about 130 pounds, and he needs a tan in a big way.
I would be honest. I'll be 100% honest. If it were MMA, I could fucking tell you exactly who it was. If we're being real, I didn't kind of finish the show yet.
Oh, for God's sakes. He's the little guy from American Top Team who,
I know the 130 guy.
Super skinny.
I think he's a bantamweight. He's in, I think it's a bantamweight who's either in the flyweight or I think it's the bantamweight, might be in the flyweight. I just cannot remember who all they've shown on TV, but.
Well, that's the best comeuppance they got. They threw him out of the ring. Okay.
Didn't Moose go over in that match? Didn't Moose beat Lashley?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he got beat up or something. The matches really haven't been, built that well for this one. It's really been mostly about, hey, let's take a look at Dan Lambert and that's been what's carried this. And it's a shame that Jeff Jarrett wasn't able to be part of it too, right? They probably had to cut some spots because of that, right? I just see the good guys going over in this one. It's hard for me to imagine a scenario where the good guys don't go over here.
It's kind of strange. Kobe Covington was the number 8 guy. I believe he was 7 or 8. He went in there. He beat Damian Maya. Now, he said he didn't beat the champion or anything. He beat the guy that just fucking challenged the champion in Tyron Woodley's last defense. Look, Damian Maya has been on a fucking tear. Look, man, Carlos Condit is probably my favorite fighter of all time. He beat my fucking guy, Carlos Condit. He got on his back, took him down, gave Condit the natural born killer.
Are they wrestling? Are they wrestling on Bound for Glory, Raven Effect?
They are not, but
they're not.
What I'm saying, man, this comes back around to a point. But look, man, he beat Carlos Condit in like under 2 minutes. That was embarrassing. But Damian Maya has been on a straight up tear, and Colby Covington just went into Brazil at his hometown this past Saturday, and he got a 30-26 fucking score on Damian Maya. Someone judged it 30-26. That is dominance in 3 straight rounds. That doesn't happen. Like Colby Covington, man, he just became he just showed how great of a fighter he was. He was better than I thought. And the ironic thing about this man is I actually had a little bit of an interaction with KM on Twitter, and KM kind of was a dick to me a little bit at first, but it was nice actually ended up talking MMA with him a little bit because he was saying Covington, if he stops Maya, that he's going to get that title shot. And I'm like, yo, Jorge Masvidal is going to get it if that's the case. And he's like, well, too bad Dana said it's going to be Lawler or it's between Lawler and RDA. But, it was cool interacting with KM, but I kind of actually saw that maybe something was going to come out with Colby Covington had he won the fight. So when my friend was texting me and being like, dude, you just missed an epic post-fight interview, and I asked who it was, he said it was Colby. I was like, shit, all right. But, and man, I don't blame Colby, dude. Those Brazilian judges and fans, I don't blame him for what he did, but he went full-on heel, and it's been controversy and talk of the MMA world right now, and it sucks that it came out so quick to Bound for Glory because they could really ride the success more, but Impact's not capitalizing on it. And you see Colby come out and crush that interview, and he was really, he's heated out and all that. If he just could have said, check me out at Impact Wrestling this Sunday at Bound for Glory, that could have been great, but he didn't. Dude, he left and the fucking fans were literally just throwing garbage at the guy. We've got a good fucking heel with charisma in Colby Covington, and he did say that he was going to be at Bound for Glory. He got clearance from the UFC. I saw this actually on an MMA site the other day, and it sounds like he's actually going to be at the tapings too. I think this maybe prolongs a little bit, but this thing could be so much. I wish that they would have taken more time to build to this because, honestly, with Dan Lambert, with Colby Covington, you've got 2 really good heels on there that can talk and really build to this. And Stephan Bonner is a really charismatic guy too. Sadly, the 2 least charismatic guys here are Lashley and Moose are the worst talkers. Is the thing. And if you see King Mo, King Mo's Flashly is, they should call that the tag team Flashly. He's flashy and all that. He's got the stage performance to him. I don't know that he's a good promo or whatnot, but King Mo too. This should be so much bigger, and it'd be nice to see a bigger build to it, but I'd like to see something continue after because I actually think they're sitting on a bit of a gold mine here. I feel, Lashley and Bonner are going to go over and get this win. It sounds like this angle is going to continue a little bit into the tapings.
I'm sorry. I got to cut you off there because that, folks, ladies and gentlemen, listening to the HeelCast, there is the wildest prediction we have ever had on this show. Lashley and Bonner are going over in this match.
They are.
They are.
It's going to be the biggest.
On different teams. They are on different teams. Yes, they are.
It's the only way I can cover it to where I do not lose this prediction.
One of them is going to win.
Either way, I'm a winner.
I mean, either way, winner, chicken dinner.
No, Moose and Stephen Bonner are going to win this one, I think. And I don't know. This company cannot afford to lose Lashley, but I think we'll probably get a blow off where it's going to be Lashley maybe at least takes a break or leaves the company and goes and does MMA and probably ends up back in WWE, to be honest. But I think somewhere on the tapings afterwards, we'll see Moose go over clean and pin Lashley in what might be Lashley's final appearance for either the company or for a while. But I feel like it's definitely going to go Moose and Bonner's way. And I hope maybe that we get Stephen Bonner to actually continue in to Impact Wrestling, because from what I understand, he's been training as a wrestler. Bonner's got a little bit of credibility to him. He's a charismatic guy. He really is. And hopefully, this goes on from there.
Yeah, at some point toward the end of these tapings, I think we're going to see Lashley written off. And I think that he'll miss at least a set of tapings. And if you think about it, that he would have the first set of tapings, he would have the rest of this time after these tapings, to get ready for an MMA match. Right, and a little bit of time afterwards probably to recover from it. Probably won't get him quite to the next set of tapings. Probably wouldn't get him quite to his match unless they time it just perfectly with the beginning of the year and maybe run some reruns in December. So I would not be surprised to see him miss at least one set of tapings. But then afterwards, I think would be up in the air as to whether he comes back or not, just because he could be the Bellator champ by then. So what match do you have after this one, Raven Effect?
So look, we got 2 matches left. We got 2 title matches. So the Knockouts Championship match, which sounds like it could very easily be the final match of Gail Kim's career. Look, here's the thing. Even if it wasn't Gail's final match, that's my pick to win this match. Who I want to win is Allie. And I want to see Allie get put over by Gail. But look, it's going to be Gail's swan song, perhaps. And I bet she goes out with a blast, man. She's done a lot for this company. And speaking of, sounding like people on Asylum, you call her Gail Cena 2.0. I don't buy that Gail Cena shit, to be honest with you. That's one thing I don't like hearing. I'm not sure entirely who, ever coined that phrase, Gail Cena 2.0 FK9, but no, I think Gail wins. I think it's going to be a good match. These are 3 fantastic performers, man. I love all 3 of these girls. I really do. Truthfully, as much as I love Gail Cena, I'm a bigger fan of the other 2 right now at this stage of Impact in all 3 of their careers. But I think it's time for Sienna to drop the belt. She's been a great champion. Gail's going over. I hope it's not her last match because I don't really want to see her leave as champ. I'd like to see her put one of 2 over. Or actually, like I said, I'd like to see her defeat Allie in a close one. I'd like to see her drop that belt to Rosemary and she says, look, this is my very final match. Gives kind of a post-fight speech or whatnot. And then out comes Taya, who kind of slaps and disrespects Gail. And then we have Gail come back for one final match and actually puts Taya over in January. And then that's done with Gail. She makes 2 stars and kind of leads to Allie kind of getting pissed at Rosemary or jealous. And there we go. But that's my thoughts on that one. I got nothing more to say. Impact dude, it's on you, my friend.
All right, folks. Well, listen up, HeelCasters. While Raven Effect was rambling on and on and on about Damian Maya and his wonderful jiu-jitsu skills, Impact Dude was looking up Laurel Van Ness and trying to find out whether she was going to be at Bound for Glory. Now, I did happen to find an interview with her and Bill Apter from One Wrestling. It was taped on October the 21st, for whatever that's meant, but it was published on October the 29th. She said very definitively she is not at Bound for Glory because she's not doing anything, but she would be there for the tapings, and she is taping through the end of the year. Okay, that's what she said on October the 21st to Bill Apter in an interview. You all can check it out on YouTube. That having been said, they really need to put her in this match if she's there. and make it a 4-way match, because first of all, she could use the rub, and she's earned the right to have the rub. As far as the Gail Cena 2.0 joke, I am a Gail Kim person. I have absolutely no problem putting the division around somebody that actually earned it and is heads and shoulders better than everybody else. Hence the reason I like to see Rosemary in that position. Gail Kim being in that position, got to that position because she flat out was better. I have no issues with Gail Kim, and I say Gail Cena 2.0 in a loving and jovial fashion. That having been said, I also firmly am entrenched in the position that when you have a legend, and Gail Kim is a legend, you let them go out on top. It does not hurt Sienna, nor does it hurt Allie, nor does it hurt Laurel Van Ness or Taryn Terrell if she were in the match, to allow Gail Kim to win this match. In fact, all it shows that those three, or two, I guess at this point, are team players. And in my mind, makes me want to watch the other ones even more. So in my mind, if this is indeed Gail's last televised match, which I'm having a tough time buying, simply because I think they would have announced it and made a bigger deal out of it, any kind of a deal out of it. Heck, she did enough promos that she could have said it, that she has to go over if it's her last match. I don't think it's her last televised match, simply because I think she wins the championship. And I think after she wins a championship, she decides that she needs to defend it. And that is, those title defenses take her through the set of tapings. I think she eventually drops that strap. She's mentioned Allie and Taya. I'm still going to say that she's going to drop it to Rosemary. That's who she needs to drop it to. And with Rosemary going over Taya in the match before, that bumps her up to the number one contender and gives us the set of matches that we haven't gotten to see between her and Gail. So I love Allie. I hear what you're saying. I hear what everybody's saying about Allie. Everybody wants Allie to be the champ. I don't buy it. She hasn't been built as a legitimate contender. So build her as a legitimate contender. Impact, don't screw this up. Build Allie as a legitimate contender and take your time. What does it do? It increases her character arc. She already went ahead and, Raven Effect, am I right or not? She capitalized on the I have no idea what I'm doing Allie gimmick. Am I right or not?
She did, man. She won the championship under that gimmick.
She won the championship already once under that gimmick. But the character arc took a lot longer than anybody else thought it would, and she kept it going. So why not let her build up to being a great wrestler? She can get a win here and there, and she can just get a little bit better every time. People can watch her get better every time. And then she stops, and, she has that Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage moment where they kind of decide, hey, we got to fight this thing out now. And her and Rosemary go and they tear it up. Okay? And I don't see why they can't take their time with Allie. I don't know why Allie's future has to be right now. Why can't we give her another 6-8 months or even a year before she gets there, simply because it benefits her to get her there over time. It keeps her on TV and it keeps fans interested in her, because once she's a superstar, and it's like, now what, right? So please don't put her over in this match. And it's not because I don't love her. It's not because I don't want to see her win the championship. It's actually to protect her. It's for quite the opposite reason. Give her a longer character arc. Sienna been a fantastic champ. Great as always. I mean, this is, in my opinion, I wasn't as big a fan of her first title run as you were, Raven Effect. I think this title run, I think she's been amazing as a champion. But, kind of like we said with Trevor Lee, it's time to have her take a step back. She's had it for a number of months now. So I'm putting Gail Kim over in this match. And my wild prediction is that Gail is going to wrestle through the set of tapings and will do so as the champion.
Yeah, I hope, and I think that's what everyone kind of expected. My only thing with that is that things change, man. And one thing that changed has been the Jeff Jarrett reign and him being gone, and apparently Dutch is gone too. My thing with this is maybe we saw that tweet that, and I don't like to bring it up, especially around you, that Bully put out again, and it was basically something he had fucking said word for word about how it's never been the talent's fault, it's the people running. And Gail responded, "Thank you, Bully." And that's the only thing I think, maybe something happened to where Gail said, what, this is going to be my last match. I'm not going to go on and further stuff because she's upset. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I'm not spreading salt on anything. I will move on. But yeah, that's the only thing there. And I'm going to be fucking stunned if it is Gail's final match.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
hear you. And don't bring up Bully anymore. Please don't bring up Bully anymore. Karma.
Unless it's something bad happened to him, like Velvet Sky gives him AIDS, which we all expect to happen at some point, But look, things changing. We go to the main event. So we've got the reigning champion. The man is on another level than anyone in this entire business. Chris Adonis. Just kidding. Look, Chris Adonis, the sidekick, the lackey of Eli Drake, the TNA Impact, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to ever call it the Global Championship because, look, this isn't the fucking red belt that Rob Terry wore. And this, swear to God, new regime, if anything, get axed the global name. But look, our champion, Eli Drake, defends against a AAA champion, challenger himself, Johnny Impact, for the second time. I will say one thing right now. If anything needs to happen, it's the champion always gets blamed for bad ratings if the ratings are low or whatnot. Absolutely, is this not the case? Eli Drake is on a level that no one else in the entire industry or business is on right now. Eli should retain this belt, and I don't feel that there's any reason why he should not leave champ, but I feel he will not leave as champion. I'll go to you, Impact Dude. Thoughts on the World Heavyweight Championship match?
I'm giving the win to Johnny Impact as well. I think that Johnny Impact's a guy that, if I'm correct, he signed a 1-year deal, and they need to make the most out of that year. So if they're going to give him a title run, they need to do it in the first 6 months so that they can decide whether they're re-signing him again the next 6 months. They need to see what they have with the guy. They need to see what he can do and what he can draw. I don't think it's anything against Eli Drake here that he's not going over. I think Eli Drake's entire title run, to be honest with you, Raven Effect, and this is a perfect segue, right, is actually a fluke. I don't think that he was meant to be in this position. I think it was Alberto El Patron that they intended to be. I think it's great that they did it, mind you, right? But I think if Alberto El Patron doesn't have, problems outside the ring, shall we say, then I think that Eli Drake is probably somewhere down on this card, right? So Eli Drake's made the most of it. I think the guy's done a phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of Eli Drake. I have no problem with them giving him and making the belt and making him champion. I really wish they would have given him like a 1 or 2 month push to the top. Like not what I want to see with Allie, because I think Eli needed to get there faster, but just something from, lost in the mid card to all of a sudden the champion over the course of a week or two. So I think he's done a great job with it. I think he's been entertaining as all get. But I think that Eli Drake is a guy that is under contract and probably will continue to be under contract for a while. I think they need to find out what they've got with Johnny Impact. And to me, the business side of it says that Johnny Impact needs to be champion. It's well known, folks, that Eli Drake has not drawn butts into the seats. Is it his fault? No, of course it's not his fault. The guy's only known inside of Impact. It's their responsible to build him. It's responsibility to build him up. Johnny Impact could put some Lucha Underground eyes on the product. Maybe get some folks, from Mexico and whatnot as well. So I see Johnny Impact going over. I see that being why Johnny Impact goes over. I think all the arguments about Eli Drake being on a different level right now are very valid arguments. I'm not going to argue against that at all. I think Johnny's got some good charisma, but he's also a little bit bland at times, particularly as a face. In ring, Johnny's got it over Eli, but Eli's a total package. But the business states that you need to find out what you've got in those first few months with Johnny, and that's why they pushed him so hard so quickly. So I'm taking Johnny Impact, your new global champion.
You had to say global, didn't you?
I did, because that's what it is.
Fuck that. Man, like a lot of ways that this is going to go, and I got some stuff to say on it. I mean, look, honestly, we all know the man crush I had on Mr. Impact when he came in. And I've been saying for years, man, I don't even know how this guy, when he first left the WWE, didn't end up in TNA off the bat, but he didn't. So my thoughts, man, is that he was never champion in WWE. He was a mid Carter guy, right? He was upper mid card, and I actually think like one of his last performances I ever saw was towards the end of when I was watching WWE as well. It was him, John Cena, and The Miz, I believe. It was the night they killed Saddam Hussein. And that was the main event, his title shot or whatnot. He didn't win. Cena went over, but I feel like they liked The Miz more than Morrison. They were a tag team and whatnot, and I thought it was bullshit. And I feel like Morrison very easily could have been a champion WWE, especially when you see some of the guys that have been champions since then. It's just like Morrison is so much fucking better, including The Miz. But he was never there. And so, look, man, a lot of these people that may be tuning in are possible casual wrestling fans. You just see a guy who the last time you saw him was fucking 4 or 5 years ago in the WWE. Mid-Carter guy. He comes up and he wins your TNA Impact World Heavyweight Championship right off the bat. Most people don't fucking watch Lucha Underground. Much less people watch Lucha than ROH or TNA, that's for sure. So I feel like they pushed Johnny Impact up the card way too quickly. I don't mind him becoming a champion, but give it 2 or 3 months first. And I'm tired of seeing all these ex-WWE guys get shot up to the card over the Impact guys. I feel it should be Storm or EC3 or even Moose or, someone like that in this position. And had Alberto not gotten in trouble, who knows what this main event would be. But, I got, as far as this, I'm going to bring in Alberto. So, look, I also picked Johnny Impact to win. Okay, so we know Alberto's coming back. So I've got a couple ways of how I feel this goes. If Alberto doesn't end up joining LAX at the beginning of the night, I feel he's coming out here. And so, look, scenario number 1, he just comes out there, is kind of the enforcer to make sure that Chris Adonis doesn't get too carried away. It helps the match go fair and square, and we get Johnny Impact going over. Other thing would be he turns on, or maybe he tries to hit Adonis or get involved, and somehow it backfires and Alberto hits Impact instead of Eli, and Eli gets the win. I could see Alberto turning heel and helping Eli Drake retain the belt, but I don't feel that's the case, because why would he help the guy who has his championship? You know what I mean? He wants to keep his belt. The other thing, if you look back to those house shows, you had Eli Drake throwing shade at Alberto, talking shit about him, which would make Alberto want to come out and help Johnny Impact get the win. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say what's going to happen with Alberto or how this match is going to end. I just feel that there is going to be the outside interference somehow. And I think basically their goal, which I said with Hurls a couple weeks ago, is to have 2 WWE guys, main eventing or, being the big headline, Alberto versus Johnny Impact. And apparently from what I hear, Johnny Impact is doing way better work as a heel with his promos and isn't bland at all. But, man, I don't know how they're going to go with this or how they're going to move it in with Alberto. My hope is that, and also, man, I mean, shit, who knows? Maybe they throw him in there and make it a 3-way on the spot at Bound for Glory. Between the 3 of them,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's where I'm going at. It was a 3-way, and you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. Let's think of it this way, right? The champion typically gets, a rematch clause, right? So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but supposedly they get one, right? Alberto never lost his. So he shows up, and he's like, hey, I want in. And whoever is in charge, because, Cornette's not there, Dutch isn't there, I'm assuming. Maybe they're bringing Pritchard back for this set of tapings, but...
No.
But they gotta have somebody, right? It can't be Jeff Jarrett.
Scotty D.
Scotty D, maybe. Maybe it's Scotty D now. I don't know. Maybe Ed himself steps up and does it, but looks at it and goes, "Gee, okay," and gives him a title shot. The other side of it is maybe they have that exact, and if they do that, that throws the impact of I pardon the pun here, but the impact of him in a completely different way because this entire match is just everything we're talking about is garbage at this point, right? Which is what makes these pay-per-views cool, because at least one of these matches, what we're talking about, makes no sense at all after you've seen the show. The other side is maybe he goes up and he asks Ed Nordholm, and Ed's like, no, you got suspended. I'm not doing it. And he goes on an anti-impact run, and maybe that's where he does join LAX, right? So I think we're gonna hear from him probably earlier on in the match. Some of these are earlier on in the night. Some of these other folks that are gonna debut, and I think we're gonna get more than just him and Sammy Callahan, I guess is the guy's name, debuting. They're not gonna hear from them, but I think you're gonna hear from Alberto early on in the evening to tease the fact that he's there, and then I think you're gonna completely not hear from him again until much later in the evening when he actually comes out and does something.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this on the spot here before we really wrap this up.
All right, hit me.
I got one question that we're gonna do after this little segment, then we're gonna be done. But here's the thing: so I want to know
how you expect, or who you want to, or okay, who you want to win and why you want them to, or like, okay, who do you want to win for one? Who do you just want to win, Eli or Impact? Who do you really want to see walk out as champ?
I want to see Johnny Impact walk out as champ because I want to see what he can do over the next year. I got to go with the business side of it and see what he's got. Otherwise, if they don't do it now, they can't do it at the beginning of next year. It's just too late.
Okay. So how, if you were booking and you were in charge here, how would you have him win this match? Assuming Alberto's going to come out or whatnot, how does he go over if you're in charge?
I always like to see the face go over clean, especially in the main event of the biggest pay-per-view of the year. I think when it's a heel champ or a heel winning, I think a little bit of shenanigans is kind of cool. But I think if you're going to have a blow-off match and have the face win, I think you like to see it go clean.
So basically, I mean, if Alberto were to come out, it was just to make sure, like, he takes out Chris Adonis and we see Impact win clean, right? Or
he attacks them both. Right, and then he disappears a little bit, and you know what I mean. And then he comes back and he does it, kind of like what happened with Petey, right? If you remember correctly, and Petey actually, had said this, that he doesn't like to have the interference lead to the pinfall, and then in his match it didn't. Something like that. If you're going to bring Alberto into the main event that way, but that's if you're bringing him in there.
I gotcha. So how do you think Johnny Impact wins? How do you think they're actually going to do it on TV?
How do I think they're actually going to do it?
Yeah, how do you think they're actually going to book the match? Like, what's your prediction with Alberto? Like, how the match actually ends?
It's interesting because I think a lot of people are expecting for Alberto to come back as a heel, and I think he's going to come back as a tweener. I think it's going to be portrayed as who he is, and I think that some people are going to see him as he got screwed because he wasn't given due process, and other people are going to see him as a wife beater, right? And so I think it's going to be left up to the fan to decide if he's face or heel or not. So that having been said, I'm thinking that he'll be out there, maybe as a distraction, maybe not necessarily, impacting the match directly though. I don't know. It's a good question. Like, I don't have an answer for you, buddy. I'm sure you have an answer, though. I know you have one.
I don't. This is actually the least easy thing for me to see how it's going to go. Look, I want Johnny Impact to lose. I want Eli Drake to fucking retain the belt more than, like, anything here. If I were in charge of it, if I were booking it, I don't even know, man. I would have, honestly, fuck. One thing I'd like to see happen would be, basically, whoever wins, I'd like to see Eli Drake actually go over clean, and you have the homegrown guy sitting there as the champion. At the very end of the show, you see Alberto come in the ring. They look face to face. Alberto holds up the TNA Heavyweight Championship belt. Eli holds up the Global, and they nose to nose, and that's how the show goes off. Or with Johnny Impact, if that's the case, and what they're doing that way. I kind of feel like if I were in charge, maybe I would have Alberto. It makes no sense for Alberto to screw over Johnny Impact. It makes no sense for him to help Eli Drake with Eli throwing shade at him like that, to help the guy who has his belt. I mean, a lot of this doesn't make sense. I would like to see, basically, at the end, Eli Drake win, and then we see Alberto show up with LAX and they assault him. Maybe possibly lead to Eli turning face, but I don't want to see Eli turn face either because I think they might ruin the guy. I have no idea where they're going with this at all. I just can't predict it, but I think there's going to be some sort of shenanigans.
All right, but, I got a question for you. If folks, if Eli Drake retains, who does he feud with after Bound for Glory?
Alberto.
And if, again, the big if, folks, I'm saying if Johnny Impact wins, who does he feud with post Bound for Glory?
Alberto, although I'd love to see it be EC3 or James Storm.
And do you think that Alberto comes back as a face or a heel?
If it's against Johnny Impact, it's as a heel. If it's against Eli Drake, it's as a face. And I don't think they're going to look at him necessarily as a wife beater. I think they're going to look at him as a cokehead.
So okay, this is fine. I mean, cokehead, wife beater, it's the same thing.
She assaulted him.
She did actually.
He didn't actually hit her.
No, he got hit. He took it on the chin. So here's my thing, though. How does he interfere with this match and come do it as a face? Is he helping because Adonis is already interfering and he's taking Adonis out?
Yeah, he basically prevents Adonis from getting in there because he wants to see the person go over. And then Impact wins fair and square. And then Alberto, face-to-face challenges him, saying, I never left my belt. And he probably holds up the TNA championship belt so they can get rid of the GFW thing and end up fucking, unifying those. But basically, he eventually turns heel on Johnny Impact. Or Impact turns heel on him, but I doubt it. I think they kind of...
How does it work if Drake goes over?
Alberto accidentally fucking goes to kick Eli Drake,
okay, and he misses and he hits Impact.
What's that?
And he misses and he hits Impact instead.
Yeah, shenanigans goes on, and then Johnny Impact holds up Adonis or Drake after Adonis has hit cheap shots on Johnny multiple times, or Alberto goes to hit Eli Drake with the belt and he ducks and he whacks Johnny Impact in the face, and then
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I hate that ending. But it is legit possibility. It's legit possibility. I've seen that one. I don't know how many times in my lifetime. More times than I've changed my handle.
Right.
So yeah. All right. That's cool.
But I feel there's a 0% chance that Eli Drake retains.
I don't think it retains either. It's a business decision more so than anything else in my eyes.
Yep, which is a shame. It's a damn shame.
It's not, because Eli gets another chance. This isn't going to be James Storm. He's going to get another chance. So I wouldn't say it's a big deal that he loses here. I just think if the fans have really wanted him to get it for a while, and he's done a great job with it, it just, it is what it is.
I feel that this man has elevated himself since he's won that belt so much more than I've really seen anyone ever do it since becoming champ. I think he is on just a level. His promos, his talk, his swagger with it, he is just on another level than anyone else in this entire industry. And you can throw anyone to WWE at me, but kiss my ass. They're not writing their own fucking promos. Johnny's doing this all, or not Johnny, but Eli's doing this all on his own.
Guy's a bomb.
He's by far exceeded any expectations I had for him. He's exceeded EC3 levels as far as promo and talk for me. I think the guy is just the best.
My final thought on this will just be that he's gotten to a point where he's proven he won't necessarily need the belt. So while I think he needs another title reign or two, just because everybody, that's going to be at that top part does, he's a guy that can hold the show up without having the belt around him. That's what you're going to get with Eli Drake moving forward. And kind of like Lashley needs to not be around the title scene, pulling Eli Drake back from it isn't necessarily a bad thing either, as long as they don't forget to put him back into it. So, that's all I got for you.
We're going to, when we do this debate show about, what we're doing, I mean, this is definitely a topic I want to talk on, because I feel like Eli should be in the main event, like every pay-per-view for a while. I think, fucking give this guy the ball and run with it. But, we're going to close it off. The last thing we got to go with, man. So we know Alberto's coming back, discussing possibilities for surprises. Sounds like Sami Callihan. Any surprises else you got? I mean, he kind of threw out Crazy Steve. Any surprises, predictions for Bound for Glory? We know there's a guy out there with 2 A's. We hear Cage, Ricochet, all these rumors. Any surprises? Any predictions for the show itself? Not the tapings, but the show.
You're gonna see a couple of other debuts. I mean, you're gonna see at least 2 to 3 debuts. I mean, Callahan's already pretty much a lock for this one, and I think you're gonna see, I think you're gonna see 2 or 3 maybe. Where they come be interesting, just because there's only 8 matches on this card, so you can't do too many. I've heard people talk about Austin Aries. I just don't know where he fits in on this card. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I just don't know, unless he comes in as the heel and they're going to put him in the X division, which I don't see it. So he would be held off if he comes back at all.
I hope your Crazy Steve prediction is right. I'd love to see DK back with James Mitchell, but to be honest, I'd rather see Crazy Steve maybe be aligned with James Mitchell, but throw Abyss and Kongo Khan as a tag team and let Crazy Steve do an actual fucking singles run, because I think the dude's a star. Yeah, Callahan will be there. Alberto's going to be there. You know what I want to see. You know who I want to see show up, but I'm going to be honest. With everything that's going on with this company, I think there's a 10% chance that A-Double returns to this company. I hate saying it. I wish to God he shows up. Eli Drake wins. Let's here. Perfect case scenario for me. Fucking Alberto joins LAX. Heel turn. He screws Johnny Impact out. of the belt. And then we get Alberto versus Johnny Impact as a feud. But then those two are gone and we have Eli Drake left celebrating. Out comes the greatest man that ever lived, face to face. A double hits the brain buster. There it goes. We lead into lockdown or whatever starts in January with Eli against Austin Aries in the fucking feud that puts his company back on the map a little bit.
Or he could save Moose and Stephan Bonner from American Top Team.
Maybe. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but maybe.
So there I guess are some options, but I don't know. I don't see where it fits in, but we'll see. I mean, that would give us somebody else to feud at the top there, post Bound for Glory.
Right. And look, I do not throw the man in the X division. He's surpassed that. The thing that scares me, man, is John Gaburek fucking took all the momentum in the world that Austin Aries had when he took over and gave him mid-Carter or below. I could see EC3. Look, EC3 is still playing the heel technically. I could see EC3 turning on Storm and Eddie Edwards, maybe not giving a shit about the company and go on my aunt is gone. I hate this company tirade. I'm not pro Impact anymore. I could see maybe, as much as I hate to say it, maybe Petey Williams and Sanjay Dutt, a heel turn between one of the two. But other than that, I can't think of any other surprises. So, all right. I've got nothing more to say on the Bound for Glory prediction show unless you've got anything else you want to add as far as heel face turns, anything like that.
No, I think it's going to be a great show. Can't wait to watch it. It's this Sunday, November the 5th. Folks, buy the show. Support the company. Buy the show.
That's right.
That means you too, Raven Effect.
Look, man, the GWN.
And finish watching last week's show.
I've actually enjoyed the wrestling heavy show. It doesn't promote the show going into Bound for Glory the way it should. I'm enjoying watching fucking wrestling on a wrestling show, motherfuckers.
The way
Impact Asylum. Fucking bear from Russia.
Look. All I got to say is, if you can't watch this show, you can eat a bowl of penis.
Just a big old bowl of dick soup. Look,
Penis soup, Raven Effect style.
Dick soup. RAV.
Yeah, right there.
Pimping isn't easy.
I quoted him again, folks. And he didn't even know what I'm talking about because he ain't listened.
Yeah, I also always say to eat a big bowl of dicks or dick soup or penis soup. I mention dicks a lot. It's the heel show. HeelCast, we do dick jokes all the time.
You said,
by the way, fuck the law and hire the HeelCast.
Fuck the law? No thanks.
I'll fuck the law. Right up the beehole.
I mean, thanks, man.
Hotel style.
Not my thing. I got nothing for you. But I got hired the HeelCast. We work cheap.
We do. We work real cheap.
I mean, real cheap, people.
Just like Impact Dude's mom on the street corner. Oh.
You
Look.
You gotta quit posting naked pictures of my mom on our Facebook messengers, by the way.
I will. I'll just start posting them back on Pornhub like I normally do. I mean, I've never heard of that site in my life.
What?
Look.
You know that in the last storm they were like running around. I guess it was New Jersey or New York, and they were plowing the streets, and they had Pornhub stickers on the plows, and they literally plowed the streets.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. My wife found it, actually. That's the scary part. Dudette found it. Yeah.
Dude and Dudette.
I think we're done now, man. I think
we
the
are.
show is
Look,
over.
It's done. Like, all I'm trying to say, man, Fight Network, apparently, I know a guy who goes by the name of Triple F posted on Asylum that Fight Network is offering a deal on Bound for Glory where you get like a free show later on or something along those lines. We know the Global Wrestling Network is going to be adding some sort of a discount to it. So look, the company, man, we have no idea what's fucking happening, but it doesn't look like the most positive shit ever is going on. I don't think we're in like the company's going out of business like last October, but help support the company. Buy it, pay your money. Don't fucking stream it. Don't illegally fucking stream it or download it or whatever, man. Just grow some fucking balls, wrestling fans. Beat the goddamn like moniker that we all live in their parents' basement and whatnot and have no money, have no jobs. Pay the goddamn $30, $40. Seriously. I'm out.
So ya.
All right. Look, this is the RAV with the Impact Global Wrestling Network, dude. Bound for Glory prediction show. Check out Bound for Glory this week, but we'll see you with the post-fight show, or whatever you want to call it. We are out. Enjoy Bound for Glory.